What's going on, everybody? So today I'll be going over a huge change that will be affecting the gacha in version 3.2 or starting in version 3.2 of Honkai Star Rail. Now I do have to make note that this is just a rumor, but it's almost likely that this will be added to the game in version 3.2. We'll find out 2 weeks later when the 3.2 special program airs anyway, so we'll be okay. But for now, let's talk on the assumption that this is actually true, which I truly believe that it is. Now, this is a huge change, and what this essentially is you can choose which 5 stars from a certain group of characters you can actually lose your 50-50 to. So right now, as it stands, you can lose your 50-50 to all 7 of the regular banner 5 stars, but with this new system, there will be a group of characters, a group of 5 stars, most likely will be from the 1.x patch cycle. Some will be power crept, some won't be, some will be good, and some just won't change your account at all. Most of them probably won't change your account, but regardless, you can pick and choose, so it doesn't even matter. You'll be able to choose 7 characters, 7 old limited characters now considered pseudo standard characters, and among this group will also have all 7 of the standard banner characters as well. I think you have to choose you have to choose 7 characters. It can't be any more or less. If you could just lose your 50-50 to 1 character every time, that would be insane. I don't think Hoyoverse is that generous though, unfortunately. So it is what it is. But Honkai Star Rail this is like their next baby, after Honkai Impact comes Honkai Star Rail. So I do see why they would make such a huge positive change. In my opinion, there are a couple negatives that I'll get into in just a little bit, but you can pick and choose which 5 stars you want in your 50-50 loss pool, meaning that if for whatever reason, I don't judge, but if for whatever reason you wanted 6 of the 7 standard banner characters in your 50-50 loss pool, you can go ahead and do that. But let's say you're free to play and you only have Yanqing at E6 and you don't have the rest of these characters at E6 because you keep on losing your 50-50 to Yanqing. You can pull them out of the 50-50 loss pool and you can add one of the new pseudo standard 5 stars, say Silver Wolf, Sealy, and replace his slot with one of those instead. Then you can lose your 50-50 theoretically to Silver Wolf or Sealy, and the next 5 star you get after that will be a guaranteed, because even though they're not from the standard banner, still you did lose your 50-50. Now that's huge, that's awesome. Honestly, I'm trying to build all of the standard banner characters just for fun, because as a free-to-play player, I have beaten the game essentially. I have all of the endgame max starred, everything I can clear with relative ease. But if I get new characters, in my opinion, that'll be a net positive, because I'll have fun with a new character that I might not have had before. Now, that's about where the fun ends though, because this can honestly kind of be a negative. Now, of course, for us meta enjoyers, this is a useless change. Being able to lose your 50-50 to a character that isn't meta anymore, come on, like we don't care about this at all. But for the casuals, which is the majority of the people who play this game, this is huge, because now you can lose your 50-50 to a character you don't have. Let's say you lose it to maybe Jingliu. Even though Jingliu has been power crept as a DPS unit, still, she's, you're casual, you don't care. It's a new character to build and use for fun. Maybe you're new to the game and Jingliu will carry you throughout the mid game. Jingliu is an amazing character for the mid game, although she no longer is viable for the end game unless you either have Eidolons and a light cone, or you perfectly speed tune, and nobody wants to speed tune. Even I don't speed tune. I just think that's too much work. Now, the problem though, first of all, once a character goes from being limited to pseudo standard, for example, if it's a Yunli, they will never have a banner again. So if Yunli becomes a pseudo standard character that you can lose your 50-50 to, she will never be added, or she will never have a banner of her own ever again. Now, in my opinion, that's not that bad. The worst part is that they also won't even be added to the regular banner, meaning this banner will probably stay how it is right now long term, unfortunately, which in turn means that the next time we get a limited 5 star, or next time we get a 5 star selector, it probably won't be any of the pseudo characters. I could be wrong. If it is one of the pseudo 5 star standard characters, that will be good enough for me, because it will be super hard to get, to lose your 50-50 to a certain character if that's what you want. If you have Silver Wolf on there, you really want Silver Wolf, it's still a 1 in 14 chance to get her. Okay, think about this. It's a 1 in 14 chance with every 50-50 to get the, if there's one character you want, to actually get them. And if you're struggling to get some characters because of a 1 in 2 chance, think about a 1 in 14 chance that doesn't even come by. It's gonna be ridiculously insane. To put it into perspective, I'm a day 1 player of Honkai Star Rail. I've been playing since the first day of the game and have stayed free to play this entire time. I have never once pulled Bailu or Welts. The only reason why I have these 2 units on my account in the first place is because of the 2 5-star selectors that we have gotten throughout the game's lifespan. I got Bailu from the 300 pulls 5-star selector on the regular banner, and Welts I got from 2.7's 5-star selector. If it weren't for those 2, I still wouldn't have these 2 5-stars on my account right now, because I keep on pulling copies of Japard. I just got Japard last summer and I pulled them 3 more times ever since, instead of getting 1 copy of Welts or Bailu. So think of it, and these characters you can get from the regular banner as well, but for the pseudo characters you can't, meaning that it's gonna be incredible. It's like you would need astronomical luck to get 1 pseudo character if that's what you're really going for. So yes, they're gonna add these characters in batches, but it's always going to be a fixed 1 in 14 chance to get 1 if you just want 1 of the characters from that 50-50 loss pool, and obviously you add them to your actual pool, because it's a 1 in 2 chance of losing your 50-50, and then another 1 in 7 chance of it being the 5-star that you actually want. So it's going to be incredibly difficult, because that 1 in 14 chance for every 50-50 you're on is the only way that you can get that 5-star, unless they add pseudo standard characters to every selector, every standard 5-star selector, which I would be okay with that, but I'm not sure if it will do that, which is why this could potentially be a problem. I think adding these characters to the regular banner alongside being able to pick them from whenever we do get selectors would be a win, even though I do understand that we already got the selector and us veterans will kind of miss out on that. But if they don't change the selector at all, which they don't have to change it, I think that will be good enough. Adding more 5-stars to this standard banner while keeping the selector the same the same 7 original characters. That way the veterans don't feel like they missed out, even though they wouldn't. Old characters are just not going to be worth it, and new players will still have a chance of getting whichever character they want from the 7, as it always has been. Now, one more thing I want to know before I end off this video is that Honkai Impact has this as well, kind of. They have a dorm supply banner, which is just a standard banner as well, but they actually will add waves of old characters to that banner. So after a character is about 2 years old, 3 years old, they get added to the standard banner, where you have a chance of pulling them there, and they also become free throughout selectors, all that stuff. And additionally, they also will no longer become limited characters, just like in Honkai Star Rail. So essentially what Honkai Star Rail is doing right now, but overall just better. Even though in Honkai Impact there is no 50-50, so the game was always better to begin with. Anyways, though, what I'm trying to get at here is that Honkai Star Rail is kind of doing something similar in the fact that we're actually going to be getting waves of characters being added to this group as well. So it's not going to be a one-time thing and that's it. That means that theoretically speaking, by the time we're in just for example, version 7.0 for Honkai Star Rail, it's likely that the 3.0 or 4.0 5-stars will then be added to this group, and they'll probably add some changes as well. Maybe we'll have a whole bunch of new banners by then, a whole bunch of new stuff. Who knows what the game will even look like back then? It could be, or by that time, it could be completely different. But according to the leakers who actually gave us this information about the whole lost pool system, this will be happening in waves, but it's gonna be however Hoyoverse wants it to be. So it's not gonna be every patch, and definitely not every patch. Maybe once a patch cycle, maybe one every 1.5 patch cycles. So maybe they'll do it, they're gonna do it in 3.2. Maybe after that will be 4.7, and then 6.2, and then 7.8, who knows, something like that, you know, waves once every 1 to 1.5 to 2 years they'll do it. But that's about it for this video. Overall, my thoughts, I think this is awesome what they're doing here. I think this is a great change. I just wish that they could be added to the regular banner, just like in Honkai Impact, not just because of the Honkai Impact vibes, although that is a great part of it. The main thing is that it just makes it so much harder to get these pseudo standard characters when they're not official standard characters. I wish they were. And again, for the selector thing, they don't have to change the selector. It can stay as those original 7 characters, and even if they do change the selector to add the new characters, it still won't change anything, because you're not going to miss out on anything if a character is old enough to where they've been added to the standard banner. It's not like you're going to be missing out on Caceres or Tribi or the Herda or any crazy unit. But that's about it for this video. Also, I mean, I'd love to hear what people have to think about this change. Again, I love it, but that's about it. Also, goodbye.